What's up, everybody? I've been watching Dragon Ball GT, and no, this is not the main anime that I'm watching right now. It's going to take me quite a while to finish this because there are other anime that I'm watching that I'm objectively trying to finish so that I can review. Dragon Ball GT is something that I just watch out of curiosity, and whenever I do finish it, I will make a review on it, but I've only seen about 13 episodes of it as of right now, and really the only reason that I decided to watch this was just because I was remembering some of the things that my friends were telling me, and also we were talking about it on Twitter the other day, because, you know, it's pretty crazy on Twitter if you guys follow me. It's like always something random going on there, but anyway, so I started watching Dragon Ball GT. I pulled it off of the shelf and blew all of the dust on it because, man, I mean, my DVD shelves are not dusty, but I would go through and dust them and be like, fuck it, it's Dragon Ball GT. I don't care if it's dusty or not. Like, I really don't care. I would just leave it there. In fact, the only reason that I bought GT to begin with was because I already had the entire Dragon Ball collection. I don't know if you guys can see it here, but I've got all of Dragon Ball, the original series, aka the best parts of all of it. And, then I've got all the Dragon Ball movies right here, the 4 movies. One is good, the rest are bad. Then I've got all the Dragon Ball Z movies right here. Some of those are actually pretty decent. My favorite is like 13, I think. I don't know, it's like Fusion Reborn. Anyways, I got the rest of Dragon Ball Z right here. And when I bought this, to complete the collection, there was no Kai, there was no Super or anything out like that. I think Kai existed, but we didn't have a collection of it out. And Dragon Ball Z certainly wasn't out on Blu Ray at that time. I think that was after they had the failed Levels collection, if you remember, 1.1, 1.2, that sort of thing. Anyways, Dragon Ball GT was sitting there for the longest time, and I never intended to watch it. It was just that paperweight show that I bought, but I tried it, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by this. In all honesty, I have actually enjoyed what I've seen so far. Now, the feeling that I get from this is like they're trying to combine the things that people liked about Dragon Ball Z in with the things that people liked about Dragon Ball, and they're trying to revisit what made Dragon Ball great in the first place, and I really do appreciate that, but it's not exactly working like how it used to. So, in the beginning of Dragon Ball GT, we see that Emperor Pilaf is back, and as soon as I put this in, I was like, what? Emperor Pilaf is back? I was really surprised to see that, just like within what was it, Battle of Gods, we had Pilaf there, and I was also excited. Anytime we revisit the roots of Dragon Ball, I get excited about that, because I love the original Dragon Ball series. So we see that Pilaf is here with the Black Dragon Balls, and I was like, what in the hell is the Black Dragon Balls? And you guys know, I'm no stickler for the lore of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or anything like that. I really don't care. It's just a fun show, but I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because what they explained was that the Black Dragon Balls came from before Kami and Piccolo separated from each other, but I was just facepalming like, why do you have Dragon Balls here? Because the only way that Kami could create the Dragon Balls was if he split from Piccolo, because Piccolo was like the evil part of himself that he was keeping in, and he needed to purify himself and split himself in half so that he could become the Guardian of Earth and create the Dragon Balls. But you know, the Dragon Balls, they're a MacGuffin here just like they're a MacGuffin in the original Dragon Ball series. I mean, they weren't really used as a bit of a device to bring people back to life until the Dragon Ball Z series or until the second half of the original Dragon Ball, which, by the way, I also criticized that in my original Dragon Ball series review if you have seen those videos. But anyways, we see that the Black Dragon Balls are here, and Pilaf uses them, and he unfortunately, like, he doesn't mean to, he inadvertently makes the wish of returning Goku back to a kid by saying something along the lines of, I wish that you were just a little boy again because you'd be so much easier to deal with, and there he goes, then he gets sent back to the time that he was a little kid. And I remember whenever I would see anything Dragon Ball GT related, and it wasn't a whole lot, I would look at it and think, how the hell is Goku a little boy again? Because age only works one way. Is he like the, what is the name of that movie? The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I had to look it up here because it just totally slipped my mind, but that's what I thought about Goku every time I thought, or every time I saw that he was a little kid in Dragon Ball GT, because I never completely understood it. I mean, people would tell me, but I still didn't want to believe that it was just a Dragon Ball wish, because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. So anyways, the difference between the Black Dragon Balls and the regular Dragon Balls is that apparently it doesn't take a year or so for the balls to become active again, because we all know the balls are inert up to a year until after it's used, so that you can use them again. And also, instead of dissipating on Earth, they actually go out across the galaxy, which, you know, is kind of a plot hole, I guess. The entire thing is a big plot hole to me, but at the same time, Dragon Ball to me is all about its adventure, and my biggest complaints about Dragon Ball Z was that it lost the aspect of adventure and it lost the aspect of comedy to it as well, which were the two things that made Dragon Ball great. Of course, I also have this criticism about the later parts of the original Dragon Ball series, because, I mean, Dragon Ball Z is only Dragon Ball Z outside of Japan. Over in Japan, it's all Dragon Ball. Personally, I feel like Dragon Ball becomes Dragon Ball Z around the time when Krillin gets killed after the first, and not after the first World Martial Art Tournament, but after the second one, I think. When he gets killed after that, that's when I feel like it transitions over to being more like Z and less like Dragon Ball. But anyways, we see that the Dragon Balls are gone out across the galaxy, and we're introduced to a new character who is Pan. And I've never seen anything about Pan, because I've only seen a little bit of Super, maybe 5 episodes. I'm not even sure if she's present in Super yet. It's really strange to me, because from what I hear, people don't really like Pan in GT. They find her annoying, but I find her to be adorable and just a funny character overall. I really like the interaction between the two, because we have Goku, who is her grandpa, and then we have Pan. They're like the same age here, and they're pretty much the same size and everything, and nobody wants to believe that Goku is her grandfather, because Goku acts like a kid anyways. And this is actually where some of the comedy is either missing or doesn't work right in Dragon Ball GT, because Goku will try and, you know, he always kind of acts like a kid. He's always pretty ignorant to an extent, when it comes to combat, but when he's a kid again, you can't help but remember, like, the same jokes in Dragon Ball where he was like patting he was trying to check and see if a machine had a penis or a vagina. He was like trying to see if a machine is a man or a woman, because he would go around patting everybody's crotch. That would be kind of weird if Goku would do it now, because he's actually an adult. And also, a lot of the things where, you know, he might pretend not to know a whole lot about something, it also makes you feel like, okay, why is an adult feeling this way about something? Maybe he has the whole erase complex. If I look 10, I feel 10. And therefore, you know, it's okay to fall in love with 10-year-olds. I'm still not buying that. People still try and sell it to me. I don't buy it, but, you know. Anyways, the combination between the two characters, I actually enjoy that. It's something that I enjoy. The women in Dragon Ball in general, Dragon Ball Z, have been pretty annoying. The combination between young Goku and young Bulma worked very well, because Bulma was very spoiled and Goku was just carefree. He was living the struggle, but it really didn't affect him, because he knew how to fend for himself. And just seeing the combination of the two, like, they would have to camp, but Goku would just be fine sleeping outside, eating snakes, when Bulma, she wants to be inside and everything has to be clean. So it was a great dynamic between the two characters, but Bulma on her own was just as just a naggy woman. I didn't like her at all. I would say that I liked Chi-Chi when she was younger, because pretty much for the same reasons that I like Pan when she's younger, because she's adorable, she's really funny, and also she's a lot stronger than you would expect a little girl to be, and that's actually kind of funny. But older Chi-Chi is actually very, very annoying. All she does is nag, the world's at stake, and she would prefer Gohan to just study and let the planet get destroyed. Like, that's going to do any good if the planet's destroyed. Well, I guess it could. Like, if Gohan did get his college or whatever, he got his degree, and the world did get destroyed, they're just going to turn back time anyways. Maybe Chi-Chi is actually onto the whole Deus Ex Machina trend that's in Dragon Ball Z, where everything can get destroyed and it just gets brought back together anyways. Maybe she has caught on to it after a while, and she's probably the smartest character of the series. I never thought about that, but having said that, Pan is actually one of my favorite female characters in the series. And we also see that Trunks is here as well. Now, what is so strange about Trunks being here is that we're used to him, or from what I remember of Dragon Ball Z, the majority of time that we see Trunks is actually when he's younger. Of course, we're introduced to Trunks when he's actually an adult, or a teenager anyways, when he travels backwards in time, but I think the majority of time we see him is when he's younger. So seeing Trunks as being the guardian of the group, where we have young Goku, and then we have young Pan, Pan here, even though Goku is old, he still acts like a little kid anyway, so it's like Trunks is the guardian of the group. It's very strange to see that. Now, given that I'm already enjoying the character dynamics between the three characters here, when they go out to different planets in the solar system here, the first planet that they go to is one where everybody is trying to charge them for money for everything. Like, they stay in a hotel, it charges them per second that they lay on the bed. Goku opens up the fridge, and it's like endless food coming out, and they're constantly being charged for it, and they're being charged for every drop of water that comes out in the tub when Pan's using the bathroom or taking a shower or whatever. And it was just funny to see that, because it kind of reminded me of one of the smaller parts of the original Dragon Ball series, where they were just traveling through to try and find the Dragon Balls, and every time they would go into a different village, there would be something that was wrong there. Maybe like the Bunny Gang or something like that. They would find that the people of the village were actually they were, being oppressed by something, and that's what we saw here, is that there was somebody who wanted a ton of rent from these people, and Goku actually fought against one of the monsters here that was on the side of the guy who was like ruling over everyone here and costing them all that rent, and he actually fixed things. So it really, to me, feels like they were trying to go back and honor the memory and basically go back and revisit the things that made Dragon Ball great again. And even though this is not, it's kind of a knockoff of the original Dragon Ball, it feels like, I appreciate a knockoff, poor adaptation of the original Dragon Ball over an accurate adaptation of what Z was any day, because it, like, in my memory of Z, it was a lot of screaming, and, they wasted so much time in Z. If Dragon Ball Z was only maybe 100 episodes, it would be so much better in my opinion, and people give me so much slack for criticizing Z. They wasted so much time in that show. You guys, maybe it's been such a long time since you guys have seen it or something. Maybe you saw it as, when you were a teenager or something, and you don't remember, but I couldn't imagine only watching Dragon Ball Z like weekly. You get like one episode a week, and it's just somebody like screaming for the entire time and like explaining powers and stuff. That's kind of what it was. But in Dragon Ball GT, they revisit the formula that we see so far within the original Dragon Ball series, and I love it. Now, there's also something else that takes it back to the roots of Dragon Ball, and this is where we go to a different village, and they're basically being extorted for, they're sacrificing the daughters there, all the virgin women there. So they sacrifice one off every now and then to this monster that likes to take new wives. And we see that Trunks dresses up as a woman to trick the guy, to trick the monster into thinking that he's actually the sacrifice, and then Trunks goes and beats him up and just lets everybody in the village free so they can get the Dragon Ball. And this really reminded me of when Goku was actually dressing up as the woman to try and pick Oolong, to try and trick Oolong in the beginning of the Dragon Ball series. It really reminds me of that. So they're definitely going back and noticing some of the trends that were going on in the original Dragon Ball series, and I definitely do appreciate that. And the point that I'm up to now is this point where it's really creepy, because there's this pedophile kind of guy who, it kind of reminds me of General Blue, if you remember, because he was really creepy too. But he shrinks down Pan into this little doll, and he's like changing her clothes, and she can't talk or move or defend herself or anything. Is really creepy seeing that. And now I'm up to the point where the team is fighting against this baby doll, which is also really creepy as well, because it's like this android giant baby doll, but now it has the spirit energy of Pan on the inside too, so they're fighting against that. I gotta see where they go from there. So overall, Dragon Ball GT, it's not nearly as good as any of the best parts of Dragon Ball, but I am actually enjoying this, and I'm enjoying this so much more than I expected that I would. And it's funny, because everybody told me, they said, if you have low expectations of Dragon Ball Z, when you go into GT, you're probably going to like it. And I'm like, you must not know who you're talking to. But I do know that I think somewhere in the second half of the series, it does become something along the lines of what we would expect out of Dragon Ball Z, and I've got no problem with that, because Dragon Ball GT is not a very long series. I mean, it's long to me, because I'm used to watching 12, 24-episode anime series, but, it's definitely not nearly as long as Dragon Ball Z, and I've got a lot of issues with Dragon Ball Z, but there were parts about it that I do like. It's just, it seems like a lot of the issues that I have sometimes do outweigh it, because the majority of the things that I love were in the first few seasons of Dragon Ball Z there. But Anyways, I'm definitely looking forward to finishing up Dragon Ball GT. I don't know how long this is going to take. Like I said, I have other anime to watch. Oh, I was also surprised to see that Oob was here. I was like, yes, we finally get to see what happens with Oob, because what an anticlimactic ending that Dragon Ball Z had, where it's like Goku has his family, he has his own son, which he let somebody else raise for the entire series, basically, and he's flying off with Oob to go train him. Like, what the hell happened to Oob? I want to know, and it looks like we get to find out here. I hope that we get to see more of Oob here, and he's not just this character that's in one random episode and we don't see him again. I hope we do see more of him, because I wanted to see where his powers went. So this has been my first impressions on Dragon Ball GT of the first, I think, 13 episodes. Let me know your thoughts about Dragon Ball GT in the comments section below. Have you seen it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? How do you feel about it? Let me know about that. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.